So like I said, the plan is to do this every week. Again, 10 a.m. Central or 10 a.m. Pacific Standard, noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern. So whatever time zone you're in, if you're available, please join. Our plan is to cover different topics every week, whether it's topics that you want to see and things you're experiencing with, these seller appointments, or just general topics like we're covering today. Today, we're going to be talking a little bit about just best tips and conversion tactics on how to convert these appointments as soon as they hit your inbox. So, if you have questions, like I mentioned, as we go, please feel free to just put it in the Q&A chat. And I'm happy to answer as we go. If you do have topic suggestions for future trainings, please either email me directly or there will be a follow-up email where you're able to submit your suggestions. So with that being said, let's get into it. Like I mentioned, we're going to be covering best practices on what to do as soon as you receive the appointment and just things that we've seen help basically convert these appointments at the highest level. So whether you've worked with us for months or years, maybe you've just received your first appointment, maybe you just signed up and haven't even received an appointment. I'm going to kind of cover from A to Z what this looks like. So when you first get an appointment from Seller Appointment Hub, a couple things happen. Immediately you receive a email with a CMA attached and all of the client's information. In addition to that, you will also then get an email and a text introduction. And so what that looks like is obviously you're getting an introduction, a group intro. So it's coming from our sales team and then it goes between you and the client itself. And then we're including your details, the appointment date and time, things of that nature. And so what we find is as soon as you receive that intro text, if you reply right away, we find that the odds of converting them, getting in front of them are incredibly higher. And so there's a couple tactics that we see that work really well. I'm going to share that with you here. So replying right away as soon as you get that intro text, and really just replying with things that include, a link to your reviews, your website, anything that's personalized or can add value to your message beyond just saying, hey, my name's John Smith. I'll be reaching out to you shortly. We find that, building credibility is key. They've already expressed interest in selling their home, meeting with an agent like yourself and, selling. And so just anything that you can do to bridge that gap between, hey, I got a random phone call about selling my home to, hey, I'm talking to a real estate agent with, a history of sales that knows my neighborhood and really is just an expert. And so anything you can do to really personalize that initial message, we find is really helpful. And so some of the things that we encourage you to mention would be homes you may have sold in the neighborhood, open houses you've done nearby, buyers you may have worked with in the neighborhood. If you have a buyer that's looking in the area or for those specs of that type of home, maybe mention that as well. And then from there, really just mentioning that your team or yourself will be researching the property beforehand and that you'll be reaching out to confirm the appointment and details as well. And so again, it's really just coming back to one, replying immediately, adding that value to your message and just confirming that you're on it. 123 Main Street is a great property and you'll be reaching out to confirm the appointment soon. The other thing is that we encourage you to send something beforehand. And so not necessarily the CMA, not a property value, but more, maybe it's just a market analysis, or if you have a pre-listing package, things of that nature that, they're able to take a look at. Again, that has your information, has some information about homes you've sold nearby, or that you're familiar with the area and the market, we find really, really helps. We really encourage you not to send the value or the comp of the home beforehand. And really the reason is because sometimes, it may not be the number that the seller wants. Obviously, it's the number with what the market will allow. But if you send that CMA beforehand, sometimes it could just immediately end up in a canceled meeting. And so we find that if you just focus on providing that value, you focus on your reviews, your testimonials, homes you've sold, it just, again, helps build that credibility, that personalization, and then it gives you the opportunity to meet with the seller and get in front of them, explain why the value might be a little lower than what they've expected and go from there. And again, this is, situational. So not every comp is going to be maybe lower than what they expect. But in the case, we just find that if it is, or in any circumstance, it's better to not send the CMA beforehand. So again, just some materials you can think of sending: pre-listing package, marketing materials that you have about yourself, a market analysis, a general one of the neighborhood is also great. So that's step one. Also, if you have a short video introduction, and I will share an example after this meeting today in a follow-up email. If you have a video of yourself, a short little video message, just introducing yourself again, just sharing some of that value, we find it really helps humanize you, and it makes it a little bit more than just text on a screen. And if you don't already have something like that, I do encourage you to challenge yourself, take a 1 to 2 minute video, just introducing yourself, letting them know you're on it and you're here for them when the time comes and you're ready to meet with them. So again, if you want to see an example of what some of our agents use, I will include a short clip in my follow-up email today. So, okay, so you received the lead, you replied to the initial group text, and now what? Now what happens? And so you mentioned you're doing some research, you mentioned you're going to reach out. So now it's time to pick up the phone, call, and confirm the appointment. We do encourage everyone to confirm the appointment before the day of, the day before, whatever that looks like. Of course, we set the date and time. Of course, they're receiving a calendar invite. It's in that introduction text, but we find if sometimes, it gets lost and things happen. And so just giving them a call beforehand, again, personalizing or humanizing yourself, and just making sure they're going to be there is really helpful. So then when you pick up the phone, we encourage you to, instead of focusing on the details our team may have already found out, right? So, what they're asking for the home, upgrades they may have made, things like that. You focus more on just introducing yourself, showcasing your value and your expertise. Maybe mention that you sent over some material for them to take a look at, whether it's a pre-listing package, previous marketing material, a market analysis, whatever it may be. Instead of really just focusing on the information we've already found out and repeating that, focus on reaffirming the appointment, time, expectations, mentioning again, there's material in their inbox they may want to take a look at, and then maybe just asking 1 to 2, maybe 3 personalized questions just to kind of build rapport and show that you've reviewed their info, you're aware of their situation and where they're at, maybe why they want to sell, and that kind of nature. Before I keep moving, I just want to see if you guys have any questions so far. We got a couple. Dave, this is not for the new verified seller lead program. If anybody on the call is interested to know what that is, I'm happy to share more. This is relevant to the verified seller lead program. So definitely steps that you can take. If you're working with them, they may require a little bit more follow-up just because we didn't initially speak with them and set the appointment. But this is more for ones that are, the appointment's already scheduled. We've already spoken with them and they're ready to meet. So this is, again, applicable to it, but not necessarily directly. If you'd like to see more of a training for those kind of leads, we will have something for you in the future. I'm happy to do that and cover this, but again, it's more for those appointments that we've set, to just keep moving them forward and convert them, but apply it how you will, of course. Okay, so just to keep it moving, again, we want to keep these really short. I don't know if I mentioned this, but we do want to keep them pretty short and sweet. 30 minutes max is kind of our goal, and really just making sure that you guys, have a direction and find this helpful. So the next thing is like I mentioned at the beginning, is we encourage you not to send the CMA. And there's kind of an exception to this rule that we found, is if the appointment is more than 3 to 4 days out, and our team does our absolute best to schedule appointments within a week, just because we find that, the drop-off rate is pretty significant otherwise. So our team really focuses on scheduling appointments within the week. But if for any reason the appointments, let's say 6-7 days out, we do maybe encourage you to stop by and drop off the CMA directly in, to their home. So rather than just emailing it, we find it keeps them engaged a little bit more. Something that Kevin, the CEO of Seller Appointment Hub, has shared in the past that he does is he actually takes a FedEx envelope. They're free at all FedExes, and he puts the CMA in there. and drops it off at their front door. And of course, if you get a FedEx delivery or a FedEx envelope, you're going to open it, right? And again, it's just a tangible kind of piece of material that you can put in front of them to keep them engaged, remind them there's an appointment, and, keep them where you need them basically. And again, this is only encouraged if the appointment is 6, 7 days out. Otherwise, we encourage you to refrain from doing so. And then from there, so what happens? You confirm the appointment, you've showcased your value. They're excited to meet with you. It's the next day, it's the time of the appointment. You're going to want to walk in with something, right? A pre-listing package is what we encourage. I do have an example of one that we will share with you that one of our actual, current agents use. And then we just find it reinforces your brand, your process, your marketing strategy. And, if it has success stories in there, it just helps, again, showcase that value. So if you don't already implement a pre-listing package, I will share a copy of one with you at the end of, in the follow-up email after this call. But again, just something tangible, something they can, have in their hand. And when you leave, they can remember you by and kind of remember what was spoken about. Because of course, there's a lot of information we share at these listing appointments. And it can be overwhelming to sellers, of course. So just something physical, a digital copy, whatever that looks like. When you walk in, assume the listing, bring a listing agreement, be prepared to sign that day. Again, our team does our best to speak with sellers that are ready to transact within, right away, 0 to 3 months. 6 months is kind of our target timeline as our max. But assume the listing, walk in, assuming they're going to sign that day, bring that listing agreement, and just make sure you're prepared if they're ready to move forward. And if the seller isn't ready to sign that day, give them something concrete to review. So something like that pre-listing package, something like the listing agreement. It just shows you're organized, invested in their results. You care about getting in front of them and, selling their home for whatever reason it may be. And something that kind of goes back to is our team finds out why they want to sell. So whether they're looking to downsize, move closer to be with their grandchildren, whatever that may look like, make that relevant and prominent in the conversation as, this is the first step to get you closer to your grandchildren. Again, you care about their results and you came for the purpose of helping them and selling their home. We do have some copies of, or some examples rather, of some text messages you can send. I do want to just share them with you. Again, I will share this information, all via email, so don't worry too much about writing them down, but let me share my screen really quickly. And again, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to chat or put them in the chat here as we kind of talk. So let me share my screen. Give me just a moment here, guys. Where is it? Okay, share. We're gonna do desktop 1. Okay, hopefully you guys can see my screen okay. I'm hoping to share with you here this Google Doc. If you can't see it, please let me know. Hopefully we can. Let me just see actually. Yeah, it says desktop 1. Okay, should be fine. So hopefully you guys can see my screen here, but here's some sample text messages that we've put together for you so that you can kind of, if you want to take these, use them, you're more than welcome to. So, hi, contact first name. So hi, John Smith. This is Ashley Coates with Marker Real Estate. I just got your info. Thank you. I've sold several homes in your area and currently have buyers looking nearby. I'll send you a quick info package shortly, and I'm looking forward to our meeting. As simple as that, right? You've introduced yourself. You've mentioned that you have the credibility of selling some homes in their neighborhood, and you've mentioned you're going to send over some information and follow up and confirm the appointment. So it's really straightforward. Again, please feel free to template these. If you guys use your CRM for like autoresponders, take them, put them in there. You're more than welcome to. Same thing. Thanks for connecting. I'm so-and-so, and I specialize in your neighborhood. Just helped sell 123 Main Street recently. I'll send you over a quick email with some information before our appointment. Excited to chat. So really the goal is to just, let them know you're going to be following up. You're going to be sending information. You're here for them, whatever it may be. Feel free to also take these kind of text message scripts and create a video around it. Again, the goal isn't to make a 5-minute long video and talk about, the 200 homes you've sold and so on and so forth. It's more of just kind of humanizing that connection and making sure they know there's a real estate agent on the other end of this conversation. They're excited to kind of share more and etc. So if you want to take these, or if you want us to kind of share more about some of the videos that we've seen that work really well, please feel free to do so. So I'm going to share these 6 with you. I won't go through with all of them. Really quickly before we wrap up, I will also just show you an example of that pre-listing package that I'm going to share with you all. So this is one of them. Oops. Let me zoom back out. So this is from Paul and Christine Nelson. Again, they are part of our program. This is actually an exact copy of what they do send to their seller appointments. And so you'll see it's about 20 pages. It opens up to just a little bit of information about them, a bio, their information, goes through the home selling process. And so this is really, again, helpful because, like I mentioned, sometimes sellers can be overwhelmed with the process. And it also just helps them see something tangible and be able to know what to expect, what your value is, what you're doing, and just what you're working on behind the scenes. And so home selling process is page 2. They run a team. So it says meet our team, again, letting them know that there's a team working behind them, whether it's the mortgage broker, title and escrow, inspection, whatever it is, that you work with a team of people that are going to help deliver the results that they want, which is selling their home to, again, in theory, be closer to their grandchildren. From there, just the 7 steps to sold, pricing your home, which is obviously a huge conversation. And so it can kind of show the outline of how you've gotten that number, the conclusion it came to, things like that. Staging your home, photographing your home. And again, this is just an example. So, if there are certain things that you do that are unique to you and your business, you'll obviously want to showcase them. If you're not staging their homes, obviously maybe leave that out of the brochure. Marketing your home, virtual walkthrough tour. You'll see here there is a clickable link. So he actually put an example of a virtual walkthrough tour so the seller can actually see the exact result of what they're getting. From there, digital e-flyer, professional print flyer. And again, these are all things that we're already doing, right? When we sell a home, and it's just more so about being able to showcase it to the seller, giving them something again to be able to look at and see. And it seems maybe really basic to us, right? Because we do this all the time. If you're selling a lot of homes, this is pretty basic stuff. But it's just good to be able to show the seller that these are the things that are going on behind the scenes to get their home sold. From there, social media, open houses, etc. Again, all things we're already doing. Response time, just kind of setting that expectation on what they can expect from you, when the best time to reach you is, etc. Client testimonials, those are always very powerful. Just being able to see and know that they're well liked and trusted. Then from there, more client testimonials driven by results. You'll see just some pictures of homes they've sold. Again, very basic. He didn't include the addresses, the sold price, just some pictures to know that the credibility is there. And then that pretty much wraps it up. And so, quick 20 pages. Again, if you don't already implement this in your business, I highly encourage you do so. Please feel free to take this exact example and just make it your own. So I will include this in a follow-up email for you guys, just so that you have it and are able to reference if needed. That's pretty much all I had to cover with you today. If you have any questions, please feel free to put it in the chat. Like I mentioned, I will share with you the recording of this call if you'd like to just revisit it. And then as well as just kind of a breakdown on a Google Doc of what we recommend, as well as this pre-listing package and a video that our current agent uses to kind of introduce themselves when they get that intro text. So I'm really quickly going to take a look at the questions and then we'll wrap up here. Robert, can you share this PDF file? Yes, I am more than happy to share this with you. Please keep an eye out for a follow-up email from me. You should get it by the end of today. We'll include this pre-listing package with a direct link, so you can, again, replicate it, make it your own, and then we can go from there. So I thank you all for taking the time for being here, even if it was 20 minutes out of your day. Your time is very valuable, and I know everyone's very busy. So thanks for taking the time out of your busy schedules to be here. Like I mentioned, this will be a recurring kind of weekly training every Wednesday, 10 a.m. Please feel free to put it in your calendar. We will be here, if it's 20, 30, 45 minutes, whatever that looks like. Excited to kind of spend this time with you and really just see the results it brings, because our goal is to obviously make sure that you are successful with our program and our product, and we want to give you the tools and the tools to really get there. So if there's anything we can do, whether it's cover a specific topic on training or help you follow up with some of your pipeline or your old seller leads, please let us know. More than happy to help, and please keep an eye out for the email. Otherwise, I hope everyone has a great rest of your Wednesday, and I hope to talk to you all next week. Bye, guys.